It's Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, 9 a.m., Commissioners Courtroom, 162 West 1st Street, Trinity County Courthouse, Groveton, Texas. And Mr. Lonnie is going to take us to prayer. Lay your head.
Thank you again for this opportunity to pray over this work and everything. Glad to be part of Trinity County. Father, we just love you and appreciate you, Lord. We thank you for this day. We thank you for your many blessings that you bestow upon us every day. Thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us. And thank you, Lord, for this county that we live in. Yes. And we live in prayer, Lord. We ask you, Lord, to bless our county, be with our county, protect our county. Father, we ask you, Lord, bless all our first responders and everybody who's a part. Bless this Commissioners Court, Lord, have to make the right decisions that would benefit our county, Lord, in a great way. So today, Lord, we just love you, appreciate all that you do, and thanks again for another opportunity to serve you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Let's say the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
In the public forum, Mr. Walker.
Greetings. How y'all doing this morning?
Good, sir.
I'm here just to make a verbal complaint. There's a federal lawsuit that was filed for my unlawful arrest and my incarceration and these fake drug charges that was put on me. I intend on speaking to Mr. Hayes a little later on. The only reason I'm here right now is to inform you all at the same time. And the paperwork has already been documented. I did send some emails. I don't know if you got them, but you should have. So everybody is aware.
If I could just say, if your intention or you have, an intention or you have already done it to sue the county, I cannot speak with you.
Excuse me?
I'm not going to speak with you if you're suing the county, to offer you any advice or anything like that.
No,
I have
it's
a
not.
duty to the county.
It's not any advice.
Are you saying Trinity County unlawfully arrested you? Is that what you're saying?
No, Sheriff Wood Wallace.
Okay. You work Trinity County.
Yeah, Trinity County. Okay.
But if it's a federal deal, you gotta go through the feds anyway.
Exactly.
So-
This was it. I was informed that I needed to speak here so that everybody was aware of what was going on.
I wasn't aware until right now,
And that's the reason.
but that's fine, we're aware now, but.
Well,
our
to
law-
my knowledge, there has not been a federal lawsuit filed against Trinity County.
Okay.
To your knowledge.
Thank you. Number 4, approve the minutes.
Your Honor, I read through the minutes, I didn't find any discrepancies unless I missed something, so moved as adopted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. discuss an act on proclamation declaring February as Black History Month in Trinity County. Whereas in 1915, Dr. Carter G. Woodson organized the Association of the Study of the Negro Life and History, an organization dedicated to researching and promoting achievements by Black Americans and other people of African descent. Whereas on February 1st, 2025, Black History Month was proclaimed nationally, and whereas February, known to all Americans as Black History Month, has been traditionally set aside for an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and the time of recognizing their significant role in U.S. history. And whereas all citizens are urged to join in the celebration of Black History Month under the 2025 theme, African American and Labor, which touches on the invaluable contributions of African Americans in the workforce. Be it resolved that the Trinity County Commissioners Court, acting through the county judge, hereby sets aside and proclaims February to be Black History Month in Trinity County. Be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation be posted in the Trinity County Courthouse, and asked all residents of the area to join in honoring the memorial occasion.
Judge,
So
I make a
moved.
motion we approve.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. All, would y'all, anybody like to take a picture? If y'all, I got this.
My cousin Jolene come with me.
Your Honor, there's quite a few people would it be feasible to move this out to the hallway or to the courthouse
Okay,
steps?
let's move it out to the front afterwards. Can we do that? We'll move it out to the courthouse steps.
Yeah, I'm Judge Bob, that's what 217, Angelina County. Yes, to see y'all.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Glad to have you.
Well, take care. So they like that.
Are y'all gonna take a picture?
If you ever need anything in Angelina County,
Yes,
just
sir.
call me.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care.
Well, let's just recess. We're gonna recess and go take this picture right now, so y'all. I think that'll be better, that way.
looked in my file, I actually started talking to Doug Page 10 years ago about the same issue. So I just want to state the election code. So my understanding is, have the committee, you want to try to take this to the voters to decide if they want to finance a jail. So the election code talks about dates. So, and I always have to remember this because the counties are specific. Except as otherwise provided by this subchapter, each general or special election in this state shall be held on one of the following dates. First Saturday in May, in odd numbered years, 2025, so this is a potential date. First Saturday in May, in even numbered years, for an election held by a political subdivision other than the county. So everybody else can do a May election every year, but counties can only do an odd numbered year. So this is this year. Or the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So for counties, you can do it every November and every other May when you can call elections. So we're in that window. So further down in that election code, it tells you, in this year, and the bond attorney, Jonathan Farrell, sent you a calendar, the county can only call election between February 2nd and February 14th, something like that. There's an 11-day window. And so today is just for information purposes, but we'd be back here on the 11th of February, your regular scheduled meeting in that window to call the election, okay? If you guys call election, I'm gonna have the attorney go with you into a closed session to talk to you as an elected official, what you can and can't say about the bond proposition. All you can do is present facts. You're not allowed to say I'm for it or say I'm against it. So they will explain to you what you can and cannot say as an elected official. Today I'm just here to talk about the numbers, okay? So
but we can say something about the numbers part.
Absolutely, talk about the numbers. Right.
Yeah, the numbers is everybody's concern.
And I'll send you a couple samples of basically we call election brochures that you'll put all the facts on that, and you'll put it on your website, and you're after that time you're encourage everybody to vote. But again, that's the attorney will tell you. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not actually allowed to be in that meeting. But if you call election, he'll tell you what you can and can't say in an elected body.
And you're going to set that meeting up, correct?
It'll be at your next February 11th meeting, right?
Talking about with the lawyer.
We'll have a lawyer there, but you'll go into executive session to do that. Okay?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
This vote cannot say anything.
I think any county elected official.
Any county
I
elected
think
official.
so. But again, we need to talk to the bond attorney.
Okay.
It's specific to this board, because you're the one calling the election. All right.
Anybody elected?
I think
he works on the other side. The lawyers.
I understand, but I'm trying to get all the facts, because we want to be transparent. Remember, transparency.
Yes.
Right.
But we want the voters to all know what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So that'll be, if you call the election, today we're not doing anything, I'm just presenting numbers today, based on what you gave me. So, February 11th is when that'll happen. So I just want to talk about the numbers. The jail commission, or the committee, told me, for this rendering of this jail that you guys have all seen, all right, that you're going to need to borrow about $16.5 million.
That's correct.
Okay, and I need to make sure that's enough money, because once you get that voter authorization, you can't borrow any more through this statute. The statute we're talking about is a general obligation bond. The general obligation bond is, so counties, one of the two main functions counties do, road and bridge and public safety. So the statute, the Constitution allows you to borrow through these statutes for operations of the county and finance it over time. So it's a lawfully created debt, approved by the Attorney General, everybody the comptroller has to certify it, because you're going to be assessing the property tax to pay that debt. Okay, so it's all upfront and legal, and it's all done by the Constitution and statutes, right? So, so that based on that number, that's 16.5 is plenty of money, because you can't borrow any more money under that statute. If you 2 years down the road and you're short, you'd have to borrow through a different statute, like a tax note or a certificate of obligation, but not a general obligation bond, because you're getting authority to borrow only up to $16.5 million.
Is there someone that can verify or take a second look to assure us that $16.5 million would be sufficient in this process, or is that just something we're gonna have to come up with?
So those numbers, after meeting with the engineers, that's where these numbers are coming from. These aren't just pulled numbers that were pulled off in there. 14 million was for construction. basically fees were about $1 million around that. Land costs we're assuming, we have some land costs built in, the utilities built in, then we even have some overage built in.
Okay. Okay.
So those aren't numbers that.
And we also, when we figured this, we figured a 20-year note. Most jails has to be redone after 20 years. You have to do preventative maintenance, but most jails at the end of 20 years, you can gut it and put a new one in. I'm talking about not the building, but the inside. And I didn't want the people to be upside down 20 years.
Yes.
That was the reason.
Yeah, I'm the banker person, I don't come up with cost information.
You said it a few times, it started making me nervous.
Well, I just need to make sure because the statute and the election
Yes,
order,
I understand.
there's two things. It says not to exceed amount, that's why the number is, and then the description. And so 2 years from now, when we forget, okay, we need to buy this or do this expense for the jail, is it included? So currently, the description says for the design, acquisition, construction, and equipment of county jail facilities and the acquisition of land in connection therewith. Right, so Judge just asked me, what about roads, parking lots, and lighting?
I wanted that added.
So I need to confirm with the lawyer, because the lawyer comes up with that wording. So it's general enough that where the wording is generic enough to so you can include parking lots and lighting. So that description might change a little bit, but I'm concerned about the amount. So we're gonna go at $16.5 million. I'm gonna show you how that's gonna affect your tax rate, okay? But that's one thing we have to decide between now and February 11th. The description is correct, okay? And then another thing in here is about polling places and election times and dates and early voting and all that. That's all an election order. And I don't know if I need to talk to the election lady. Okay, if I can talk to you afterwards. Okay. All right, so with that said, let's look at some numbers. Now, first thing, I went through your audit last night, but first thing I want to show you is the tax rate history for the county for the last 20 years. Assessed valuation, tax rate history. Because that's in essence of what's going to pay for this debt going forward. And as you can see, your assessed valuation has gone from 416 million to 1.4 billion. And your tax rate has fluctuated from 46, your total tax rate. If you can see here, it's your tax rate is made of two components, maintenance and operation, and interest and sinking for debt. So you can see for a few years, from 2009, about 10 years in 2018, you did have some debt that was paid for by taxes. But your total tax rate has gone from 46 up to 65 and then down to 53. Now, since I live in Austin, I can affectionately call them the crazy who come to Austin every 2 years, and they mandate on how much you can increase your M&O tax, right? And they, what percentage of your due effective rate, rollback rate, and all those things, they control that. But your INS tax, if you're going to borrow money, you're telling the lender that you're going to pledge taxes to pay this. And right now, there's no limitation, or if you set your debt payment, they're going to allow you to make your debt payment. So there's no restrictions on how much you can raise your debt payment. If you issue debt and you go through the proper channels like we're doing, call the election, voters approve it, you issue a general obligation bond, Attorney General approves it, Comptroller certifies it, then you can assess an INS tax to pay the debt. Okay, there's no limit. The crazies in Austin aren't going to limit that yet. They could change it over the next 20 years. I don't know. But right now, there's really no indication that your INS tax will be affected to pay your debt. So you're pledging, and you're telling the guy who's going to lend you the money that you're going to cover it with your property taxes. Okay? So you can see how your tax rates have moved over the last 20 years. So with that said, we've taken those values and plugged it into this tax rate analysis to show you. My stapler went on the back side, so it's sort of like for a left-handed person. It's perfect. For you. Awkward for me. You never get that staple thing to work correctly. So what we've done here is we put in the $16.5 million. Yep. And We financed it for 20 years, we talked about. Statutorily, you can borrow up to 40. But two concerns there, will the asset last 40 years? And can you get anybody to lend 40 years? They don't only want to lend. You could probably lend for 25 if you wanted to make the payment a little less, but we just did for 20. That's the assumption here. Interest rate right now, interest rates have gone contrary to what we hoped. We thought the bond rates were going to come down. Fed has lowered their federal funds rate, which you always hear about in the news. But the bond market actually moved up a little bit, so maybe 25 basis points, we're assuming a 4.75% interest rate. Now, that interest rate won't be set until you sell the bonds. But once it's set, then it's fixed for 20 years. But our guesstimate right now is about 4.75. And a lot of things go into that interest rate. One is the Fed funds rate and what's going on in the world economy. Two is your credit rating. The county doesn't have a credit rating. I've gone through your audit, and assuming that your financials look pretty good like they have in 23, we'll get you credit rated through a credit rating agency. They establish a credit score like you have for everybody has one for their personal credit borrowing. Based on all these factors, economic, managerial, and economy, they'll establish a credit rating. With that credit rating, as a broker-dealer firm, I can take you to the bond market. And that's basically just an automated area for banks to lend you money.
Why do we not have a credit rating?
Because it costs you money to do it, and unless you're borrowing, nobody will pay the money to do bond rating.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you have an overall sense of what your credit is, but there's three established credit for the bond market, credit rating agencies, Standard & Poor's, as everybody's heard of, Moody's, and Fitch. So you would pay one of those firms to give you a credit rating, because the bond market requires it. And that credit rating will establish, you can borrow without a credit rating, but to get the lowest interest rate, and if you're creditworthy, you have good credit, which I think you do, we'll get you credit rating and we'll take you to the bond market. Then it's basically a transparent bidding process, and you'll have 50 banks bidding on Trinity County's bond offer, because they like property tax supported debt in Texas. So there's 100 banks out, 50 banks out there that will bid on the county's debt. We'll publish a market transaction, a public sale, and we'll bid it out. It's all done electronically, and you get the lowest bid on the day of the sale. Totally transparent. Okay? So with that said, and the interest rate that we're estimating, and 98% collection percentages on your taxes, you have to consider here's the increase in your values. We took your values from this other sheet and showed you from over the last 20 years. Your average growth in the last 10 years was 7.4%. And the last 5 years, it was 9.2%. So you can see, though, we had negative and zero growth a couple of years, but over the last 20 years, there was a nice growth, 9% over the last 5 years. So to be a little conservative, we put in 2.5% for 5 years growth. Okay, not any more than that. These are our estimates. So if you look at that number on the next page, we take your 1.4% growth, and I'm on this page 3, and we do 2.5% growth for 5 years. So you see, if your AV grows to up to 1.6 for the next 5 years, then we hold it flat going forward. So we're being very conservative on our growth estimates, which is important. That's going to vary, and your tax rates will vary, but that payment will be fixed. So if you look at that middle column, $16.5 million for 20 years at 4.75% interest is about $1.2 million a year payment. Now, timing-wise, if we pass this bond election in May, there's a 30-day contest period, so you don't do anything during that 30-day contest. But say you said, let's start. It takes about 90 days to get you your money or to lock in interest rates. So what we do is we prepare the offering documents, we get the credit rating, it takes about 30 days. So and credit rating is you prepare these offering documents, you send to the credit rating agencies, and they have a bunch of questions. We have a rating call. And you go through the rating call to the credit rating agencies, and then they establish a credit rating, A, B, A, AA, AAA. All right, those are the main things. They have minuses and pluses, but A. And so based on your credit rating, then we put that in the offering documents, we conduct the sale, and then it takes from when you lock in the interest rates and you approve the debt, it takes about 30 days to get your money. AG has to approve, the attorneys do all the legal stuff, and certified in the comptroller, and an attorney general has to approve it, and then you have your money about 30 days later. So that is timing right about the time you're doing a budget. You do the budget in the summer. So the idea is to have it, in these bond payments you have 2 payments a year. Principal and interest one time and interest the other time, every 6 months. So most counties and do tax supported debt, we have the principal payment due in February. Because most of your principal payments, most of your tax payments come from October to January. So this first year we would do an interest only payment. We wouldn't have a principal payment due because you're starting this first year. And so you'd have interest only the first year, and then the following February of 27, you would have your first principal payment. You have principal and interest, and then August. So February and August, you'd have 2 payments every 6 months. Okay? And we do the big payment in February to match to your tax collections. So that shows that first year only $783,000. So your next budget year, when you're doing your budget this summer, you would budget for $780. If these are all the numbers, you would budget $783,000 payment, which would equate, based on next year's values, at 2.5% growth. By then we'll have the new number. We'll have the new values, right? So by then, but right now the estimate is 5 cents for INS only. So this history that you're looking at here, your INS tax rate would go up 5 cents next year. And then the following year, it would go up to 8. Okay? So, and it would be 8, 7, based on those numbers, for that debt payment. Any questions on that and how that sheet works?
I don't know if you can answer this, because say someone pays like $10,000 in taxes right now. If this was voted on and adopted, do you know roughly what their...
Very good question. I have that on the next page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry you were going.
Yeah.
Called segue.
On page 4 is, how much is that gonna cost a homeowner? Right, so homeowners' taxes are based on the taxable assessed valuation of their home. And in the election order, we have to put that. So it's gonna be published to the public in the election order. And they just said an average of $100,000 house is what the election order says. Well, I have multiple values here based on, and I looked on the Google thing, and it said the median income median household in Trinity County was $211,500. I don't know if that's right. I found it on the internet, but you can see from 100 to 300. If you're $100,000 house, your payment is going to go up $84.90 a year. If it's $211,500, like if that's your median, it's going to cost you $179.56 a year, based on everything. So that's your question.
So let me ask you a question. I'm like Colton, I don't know if you will be the one or the lawyer, but this right here, the 7 and 8 cents is just for the construction of the jail, correct? Just for building of this 16.5
operation.
It's just for the 16.5 million that we need to build the jail, correct?
It's for what I just read. It's for design, acquisition, construction, and equipment of county jail facilities and acquisition of land in connection therewith.
So my next question, or to add on to that, is the operation. Somebody said it down there. The operation of the jail.
Right.
And I don't know too much about it, but I know in any kind of construction business that 50% is building, 50% is running. You know, that's just the way I do. Labor is 50% of it. You know, that's just the way I've always heard it. So, what if we can't afford to run a jail? Do we run another bond? Or how's that work?
Yeah. I don't run jails or run counties. I help borrow money, lend money. But I do look at your financials. And so I did look at your, sorry?
No, you have to raise your tax rate when you get to that point. It goes back into like our budget.
Right, so you guys and the jail guys can tell you how much it's gonna cost to operate that jail. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All I know is from your own financials, right? You know, for the last year, you spent $2.9 million to run public safety. And I'm assuming everything, all your sheriff and all the people are in that number. I've been talking to Judge Pate for 10 years, and I know in that number you ship prisoners, right? So that number, once the jail is built, that number has to come out. And then you add in the maintenance and operation of the new jail, right? And then as you're setting your budget, whatever that number happens to be, you set your tax rate to cover all your operations, not just the jail, right?
Another increase.
Yeah. So there will be an increase, if that's more than Yeah, if those people aren't in this number, that has to be added to your maintenance and operation budget.
Isn't there a rule on how much percent you can raise taxes at one time?
That's what I was saying, the crazy in Austin dictate on the M and O budget, on your tax rate, how much you can increase that in any one year. Correct.
I think it's a 3% cap.
3%. Yeah.
3% cap.
3 or 3.5.
3.5.
I think
Without it being subject to rollback.
Back
Right.
on.
Voters could approve a higher rate at that point.
But that would be on the M and O side, not the INS side.
Right.
Totally separate.
So does that have to go out for a vote then?
Not until you go set your budget. It's on a year-by-year basis.
But if they didn't approve it, you wouldn't have it operate.
That's right, so you'd have a building set there. We'd ship you in, but
So, I'm confused, if you're saying that if we run this bond for this, what we're talking about, and then it takes, what, 2 years to build it, let's just say 2 years, we figure out how much it's gonna cost to run it, we gotta look at our budget, if we gotta raise taxes, we gotta run another bond for that.
You
Yeah,
don't
so
need to
that's
increase
not a
taxes.
bond.
not a bond.
Not a bond.
You just raise the
You
tax.
just have to raise the taxes, just to pay for the running of the
I
tax.
just said vote on it again, they'd have to vote on it again. to raise it.
No, I asked if you have to.
Oh.
Yeah, not to cover the debt. They're allowing you to raise the taxes to cover the debt, but now you're setting your budget. Here are 27, 28. You gotta add up all your expenses, not just public safety, all your expenses you have in you're going to set your M&O rate. If it's above the 3, now that could change right now. The crazies are also right now. It used to be 8%. They lowered it to 3.5, right? And it used to be a voter, 8% or more could potentially trigger an election. It could be subject to rollback election. Now they're saying if you go over 3.5% or 4.5%, whatever the number is, you automatically have to have an election. But that's for maintenance and operation tax, not for debt.
But you got a ceiling there. If it come down to it, we could actually probably cut that budget over 30%, and we could have enough to float our debt if we had to do that.
So all of this high
What do you
question
mean,
is
cut? Cut staff?
Cut, if we had X amount of dollars over there, and we can only go this far, we can't let something that we're paying note on not go on unattended.
I understand.
So we have to take and delegate some of that money over there to that jail to make it operate.
But you know that if we build a jail, there's gonna be more personnel, not less. That's just common sense.
You're correct, but still the bottom figure is, if you got money, and it's going out there and they got a cap on us, we have to make sure that jail runs. Wherever we need to cut, we have to cut all the way.
I give you some, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions about the numbers?
What's the exact number we're raising the taxes by?
Based on all these assumptions, based on your assessed valuation, and then a 2.5% increase, and we'll know that before you set the tax rate. And based on a 4.75% interest rate, and $416.5 million for 20 years, your tax rate next year will go 5 cents.
5 cents.
In the following year.
The following year.
Yeah.
Following year would be 8, based on all those assumptions being correct.
Well, next year would be 8.
So it's going
It'll be
to 5
eight.
cents, they're gonna move to 8.49, not move by 8
Yeah, you see that, it starts running anymore.
Yeah, gotcha. They start fluctuating a little bit every year.
Right, your payment's gonna be set. Yeah. And then, depending on how your values go up or down. Now, if your values went down, that tax rate could be higher. If your
If
value,
the evaluations change.
if your valuation change rate, my assumption is wrong here.
Yeah, he said 5 to 8%, but he's guessing right
Yeah.
now till we get it passed.
Right, 2.5 right now, if your values don't go up from 1.46 to 1.497, doesn't, we'll know the preliminary values when April,
And
May
if the valuation comes down,
comes down.
then we'd be up at 8 or 10%.
Well, I don't know how it would be, probably wouldn't be that much, but it would be higher than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how much total interest will we be paying? About 10 million?
About 10 million over 20 years. based on 4.75% for 20 years, 16.5 million borrowings, about
On a
$10
$6
million.
million jail, we're gonna pay $10 million.
In
In
interest.
interest.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there any kind of penalties for paying it off early, like an
That's
unscheduled
it.
payment?
Yeah, normally what the bond market requires is you can make payments for about 10 years, 9 to 10 years. And after that, you can refinance it, pay it off early.
So
But
you're
they
stuck with it for 10 years?
about 10 years.
Okay.
So just to give you a little update on this, if y'all look back here at this other sheet he brought, where it shows the tax rate, and it shows that 11 years where the taxes went from 62.5 to 65 cents. There was 11-year period there. What that is when they borrowed $1 million to redo this courthouse. And we got it paid off in 21, we paid it off, and that's what brought the taxes down. So $1 million is what that's reflecting. Just something to look at.
And then, so say that they pass it and everything like that, and we look at our finances and we realize we have to have X amount more dollars in the public safety fund to run the jail, we can vote to raise the tax rate up to 3.5%? Just on
So
our
I think it's above 3.5, and that changes. Is it 3.5 or 4.5? I thought it was 4.5.
No, it's 3.5. Yeah.
Well, no,
It's got
like, so
cap.
what could the Commissioners Court raise the taxes to without having to go to like an election? I guess.
3.5.
3.5. Now,
Up to
they're
3.5%.
in session right now. They're probably going to change that. Now, I don't know higher or lower, but
I mean, I'm just thinking, 5 cents will get you 1.2. I don't think they need 1.2 to raise it up. It seems like you can get it done if it was made under 3 cents, I guess. The money, I'm just spitballing, I guess.
under 3 cents for.
Because one thing you would have to add in are shipping inmates back into as a benefit.
But the bond market is different than a regular financial part because they're taking risk. Is that correct? Is that correct?
What do you mean?
When because they get more percent interest, why are they're higher than what the financial part is?
I'm not sure.
I'm talking about the interest rates themselves. I mean, I would think it'd be in the 4, 4.25, and then you're saying it's gonna be closer to 5. How come that margin is higher there in the bond market?
4.75%.
Yeah.
Versus what's 4.25?
I'm
Federal funds
just talking
rate.
about, yeah.
That's what he's wishing for.
Yeah. Well, if people always ask me what my interest rate's going to be, there's the federal funds rate, and you can go look on the internet, you can track it. There's the 10-year treasury, you can go and look at that. The history, 20-year treasury, you can track that. Your bond market interest rate is what you get on the day you sell your bonds. And it's based on the federal funds rate and your credit and supply and demand in the market at that day. Our guess is what it's going to be 4.75.
Yeah.
Next August. We don't know what the rates are going to be.
Yeah.
That's just our guess, all right? But the only thing that, once you sell the bonds, and that you know that interest rate is going to be fixed for 20 years. That's the only thing that'll be certain.
And your first year, it's due in February, and it's just interest on, correct?
Correct. Interest on
And
first
then
payment.
the next time it comes through, it's gonna be interest and principal.
The following year, right? You'll have an interest-only payment in August.
No, that's even if it's not even finished.
Your debt payment, you're gonna get, when you borrow the money, you get the full borrowed money at once. It's not like a house where you do a construction loan and with the variable rate for during the construction.
You get it all at one time.
Yeah.
All one time and it's fixed.
Yeah, if you're looking at a 2-year process before you actually probably house it anyway, but you're gonna start paying when you borrow the money.
Interest on
You
the day you borrow the money.
you have to get your money and that tax rate, I was worried it was gonna have to pay up before I got the tax rate high.
No.
Yeah, see
No.
that, you explained that to me.
Now, if you-
always. You might go over that with them.
Now, the other thing is, when you get voted authority, if the voters approve it in May, you have like 10 years to issue the debt. You don't have to do it within the next 3 months. So say we don't do it in the next 3 months, and say you call me and say, next December or January, we want to borrow the money. Now you're in the middle of a budget year. Now what do? I don't have any money in my budget for an interest payment. The bond market normally likes a first interest payment within about 6 months. So if you sell in January, they don't like a payment in July. You don't have that. July is in the current, I don't have any money in the budget. So we can do a couple things. We can defer that first payment till February or October after your budget year. We'll have to address that first interest payment. Right now, the way it's lined up timing-wise, you could do the bond sale right when you're doing your budget and put it in the budget. But people don't always do that. So if you borrow mid-year, we'll have to adjust for that first interest payment. And you can defer principal for a couple of years if you want to. You can defer principal payments until the bell rings. You can defer payments until construction is over, principal payments, but you're going to be paying interest.
I don't know how to work this thing.
So that would cost you, rather than 10 million in interest, if you defer principal for 2 years, you're going to pay probably 11.
Yeah.
You're going to, you can do that. So there is some
Yeah,
flexibility.
we wouldn't, if it passes, we don't want any more interest in there, we just like to pay it.
If it passes in May, then you restructure your budget in October.
Yeah.
Right. Ideally, the timing is good on
You're covering
borrowing.
it.
Because it'll go through the tax entity.
Yeah.
So when do you actually set your budget? Here.
October first.
No, but when do you vote on it?
Into September.
Then it's September.
Last
Okay, so we would need to sell the bonds before you set your tax rate.
Yes.
So sometime in August, September,
So-
sell the bonds.
So Ben, you've done lots of these over your career, I understand. But walk me through the procedure. The jail builder will have public hearings for the people. And they'll promote this jail and tell them the pros and the cons. Are you involved in that part too?
I can be if you want me to.
Well, I mean,
Normally people don't want a suit person there, they want you guys there. I could be there. Now, again, the official action that the county does, call a bond election, publish the dates that voting is available, timing, where, time, when to vote, and publish the brochure of information. There are no public hearings are required by the statutes. It's up to you how many, if you want to do town hall meetings around the county, that's totally up to you. It's not required by the statutes.
oh, really? Well, that ain't what we was told. They said they'd have them all over the county.
Well, they can do it. It's up to you, but the Constitution statute doesn't require it.
I imagine they would want to do that to increase the likelihood of the bond getting passed, so they can get paid to build the jail.
So my other part of this question is, to do this and get it on the ballot, what's gonna be the cost to the county to do this? I've heard 75,000, I've heard 100,000
Cost for what?
for the election and the promotion of it,
Just to vote on it.
to vote
Well,
on.
you guys conduct elections all the time. How much does it cost to run, I don't know. How much does it cost to run an election? I don't know.
Priscilla, speak up.
You're gonna be running an election anyway. The
Roughly,
city just hired
was
that
what,
last night
50,
to run
60,000?
their.
Yeah.
50, 60,000.
50 to 60,000.
But you're gonna have an election anyway. This is just one more item on the ballot.
I guess to add that item on the ballot, is there a projected cost for that, or is it all wrapped up?
To add it, like, if you were doing it, if you would have done it during the general, it wouldn't have cost any extra. But with this being the only election in May, the county's gonna have to pay for everything.
That's what I thought. But-
Yep,
So you're talking about 50 to 60,000.
With your election workers and everything, and
with the election workers, it also determines on how many polling locations you want open. Because the more polling locations you have open, the more people you have to have working it. So that's gonna cost you more money. We can do like what we do in a typical amendment election, open up to the 4 main polling locations. And that way it'll cut some of the costs. But if you're wanting every polling location open, that's gonna cost.
Well, I'm just trying to get it in my head, because I've heard 75,000, I've had 100,000. I wanna know what it's gonna cost for the people to decide whether they wanna build a jail or not.
It's gonna be about 50, 60,000. Because you gotta plan for the media to be, the ballots to be printed, the media to be burned, and your election judges, and polling locations.
Okay.
So the town halls, you could do it anywhere you wanted to, out and the counties and stuff, you can have as many as you want to. And what's that timeline on that?
Well, anytime after February 11th to Election Day.
Okay.
You can do as many, you can do them weekly, all over the county.
So-
Now, for me, yeah, the numbers aren't gonna change, so I mean, I'll be glad to come to one or two if you like, but numbers aren't gonna change. It's, you know, once you produce
So
a
do you
document.
have to, could you show up at a church and explain that without selling it, or being for it or against it and talking?
At the church, yeah, anywhere.
Or at a prayer?
I guess I ain't getting this exactly straight. That's 50,000, 60,000 to have the election. But y'all ain't coming over here in your three-piece suits, and the jail people ain't coming over here to sell this jail for nothing. What is there a cost on that?
Oh, well, I'll get paid if you borrow the money. And then that, in our budget, then that 16.5.
So you only get paid if we borrow the money,
Correct.
period.
Right, if you don't, if the election fails, I'm good done.
So the jail, that the people that's gonna build the jail, they're gonna get paid whether we do or don't, am I right?
That's part of the fees that are built into that, isn't it, with your?
Well, they might have some fees for doing all the planning and design work, I don't know.
Right,
But
Right.
The architectural fees are part of that 16.5 million.
Oh,
All
okay.
these fees are rolled up in that bond election.
in the bond attorney also, you
You
didn't
know,
get
there's
paid.
always a lot of fine print down there.
Right.
I
And he
think
didn't, we
it's
don't,
real good.
the bond attorney doesn't get paid even if the election doesn't pass, in my mind.
So it's to their benefit to show up to these things and
Sure.
promote it or promote the facts.
But I'm not selling this jail, it's not about selling.
You can't sell it, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about numbers.
You're presenting.
All I'm talking is numbers.
So the jail builder has to go by the same rules we do, elected officials, as far as promoting the jail, just present the facts.
I think so.
That's all it's gonna be, is right. It's not gonna be.
Say you have these town hall meetings, do the town hall meetings have to be, I guess, county sanctioned or put on by the county builders, or can just a citizen jump up and put on a jail?
There's no statutory requirements,
Okay.
I'm aware of.
So who's over that when it comes in there? Who?
You guys, you call an election, you want to publicize it to the county, you want to meet in each of your commissioner precincts to have a town hall meeting, but the state doesn't dictate that, not yet, to my knowledge.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Speaking of
if we, let's say we have a town hall meeting in Groveton, all of us can't attend it, correct?
Oh, yeah.
You publish a meeting, you would publish a
Yeah,
meeting.
You
Yeah.
can show up and
Yeah.
you can present.
No, I'm saying, because we can't do anything other
As
than.
a quorum?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I think you publish a meeting even if it wasn't 4 or 3 of you there, I was just.
He's telling us to stay out of it.
No,
Or
no, I'm just saying we can't.
trying to sell one. You're not selling it. You're presenting the facts. That's all you.
Encourage people to vote. For or
That
against.
lawyer, when he comes, he's gonna set up, he's gonna go over all that in that executive session about that. You can ask questions there.
Right.
That's what he's doing to clear your mind.
Yeah. And I'll ask the sheriff and treasurer, auditor's appointed, so that she can talk what she wants. No, I'm not sure.
What'd you say that
The
again?
auditor's appointed, so
Yeah.
she's not,
I'm
covered
not
by the
held- I'm not
statutes.
held to the, not discuss opinion.
Yeah, I'd say I'm personally, but I'll ask the attorney if the sheriff elected and the treasurer elected, if they are also in that. But I'll let him talk to you guys specifically.
Yeah, I'd like to know that answer.
So moving forward, we just need to
So
set a
the-
meeting for February?
February 11th, and so the attorney will give you, there's a sample election order that he sent to treasurer here. And the item on the agenda would be an order of the Commissioners Court of Trinity County.
May? Yeah. November, is there election in November?
There is a November election.
There, I thought you told me this when we was gonna.
There will be an amendment election in November.
I'm sorry?
There will be an amendment election in November. There is every year.
So that would be a lot cheaper, am I right?
I mean, the county's still gonna have to pay for it, for amendment election, but yeah, it will be cheaper.
Because you want to pay for both.
Yeah.
But regardless, when we do it, we just need to, we have to do it in February?
That's the interest
41.001 uniform election dates. First Saturday in May in odd numbered years, May 3rd. You have to call the election between February 2nd and February 14th for a May 3rd election. First Tuesday after the first Monday in November, there'll be a 2-week window in August that you can call that election. Okay, there's only 2 times a year you do it, in odd numbered years. In even numbered years, only once a year. And that order that you'll have on your agenda will say, in order of the Commissioners Court of Trinity County, Texas, calling a bond election to be held on May 11, 2025 within the county, making provisions for the conduct of the election and other provisions related hereto. And you also have to decide on the wording of that election, what the wording on that ballot says, right? And that's with your election. I don't know who actually, I guess you guys decide that.
The county attorney's supposed to get the wording for that bond.
Yeah, I think the sample wording you put on here, you have for or against. The issuance of up to $16.5 million of bonds for the, again, this is what we have to wording, design, acquisition, construction, and equipment of county jail facilities and the acquisition of land in connection therewith, and the levy of the tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest of those bonds. That's what the election order on the ballot would say right now. You can change that if it's not correct. And then they say for or against.
Back on what you was asking about this, y'all all decided y'all wanted it as quick as you. That's what Tommy said.
Count me out of it, but I ain't decided nothing.
No, I'm just saying that it was.
All I've said, I want it on the ballot to let the people
Yeah,
decide.
and that's what I've done, I put it on the ballot. If you want to save that extra money, we can wait till.
Wait till November.
We can wait till November. So if you'd like to do it, I think it's better to do that, but I wasn't gonna go against all y'all.
No, that's a good way we can save money like that, absolutely.
With the
Well, you're gonna have to pay it anyway, you just have to pay it double this one.
Up higher or lower, by the way.
Definitely.
They will change.
Going lower because Republicans are in there. They're gonna bring it down.
But again, we're talking about bonds,
We're talking about
which is
bonds,
different
it's
than the
not-
market rate.
Yeah.
They usually work opposite bonds. usually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I ain't never had that kind of money.
I mean, this is, the home mortgage right now, 30-year home mortgage is what, 6.75?
Right.
This is taxes in 4.75, so quite a bit better than a home mortgage interest rate, but not the federal funds rate.
Yeah.
Different interest rate.
I guess the lawyer have more answers to our questions when he comes in February, correct?
More answer your question regarding what you can and cannot say.
I mean, we're not making a decision anyway.
Yeah.
We just did it. If it's all right, we're just
Okay?
we're gonna chew on this.
Yeah. The only other thing too, people say about May or November, some people want it in a presidential election year, because that's when you have the most voters out. Sometimes people want it in May when it's not a heavy turnout vote. It's really up to you if you want a November or May election. It's totally up to you guys.
I would have rather waited that, but I thought y'all wanted to.
No, all I've ever said is I want to go to the people.
Right.
Well, I do too. I'm just trying to, I thought y'all wanted to get it over with, that's what, and put it on the ballot, that's what I do.
Right.
We just need to
But
let
I'd
the
rather wait.
coming in February know when.
I'd
we
rather
have it.
wait.
Right, if it's not gonna be, if it's not gonna be in May, then they need to come to August.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, so let him know if you're gonna call it, if your intention is to call it. I know you still have to vote, but if your intention is to call it in May, he'll be here in February.
Yeah.
If your intention is not to call it in November, I'd rather him not come here in November. We don't have to.
Yes.
I'll be here, I'll be here.
In February?
I'll be here February 11th,
Okay.
unless y'all tell me not to come.
Any more questions?
I'm good.
All right, thank you
Well,
very much.
thank you for your information.
Now, let me know if you want any, all this into it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh. Okay, y'all want to take, we're gonna take a 15-minute break.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. 10, 15, be back.
with this, right?
Yes, sir. Number 7, discuss and act approval of personal action form. Board.
Down in front of you, this personnel action forms.
I'll speak a little bit on, one of those is mine, Jebo West. He's going from part-time to full-time, but it's the same exact rate. It's nothing changing, and also he's already got insurance through the state, no need insurance, so he's just changing from part-time to full-time.
This, the Hill, that's if I understand this right, they're splitting it?
They're splitting the full-time.
It's a full-time position,
They're splitting it to 2 part-time.
and they're splitting it to 2 part-time, but it is a full-time in the budget. It's been in there for 2 years as a full-time position. The dog catcher is a full-time position. Want that transparency, you know? We gotta clear that up, because there's been some talk and some Facebook posts that we're not supplying the dog catcher.
That's right.
And that's not right. So.
And I'll have to bring to the court the approval to change that line item
Yeah.
from full to part-time.
So, who is the other part-time?
I
Do they
think you
just-
approved him already, haven't you, Brandon Furman?
Oh, we do have one already?
Yes.
Okay. What?
Was that on the last meeting, I think, or the time before?
Yeah, it was before.
Yeah, I saw him riding through Trinity yesterday.
I see them using that purple truck.
Yeah, they come
Oh,
through, they're
Groveton.
working, so it's good.
I make a motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I'm ready to discuss and act on official bonds.
There's one there. We had an amendment to that bond, and so we have to pick that up, and that's what's in front of you here. It's a fix for the comptroller to lower that bond.
When you assign our bonds in, like since the re-election, did y'all sign those bonds yet?
I don't think we have.
I haven't, Benny mentioned the other day.
We haven't. None of us have. That I know of.
To be me, you, Tommy.
Yeah.
What's that?
The bonds.
Renewal of their bonds with us doing elected officials, because you, took your
Why
oath
did
in
we
January.
check on that, or is that order?
Rebecca.
That's order?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So is this something new on Nancy, that they raised it?
They lowered it.
They lowered it.
Yeah, they're decreasing that bond.
I didn't realize hers was that high.
So moved on.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, receive monthly payroll report for December 2024.
You have that one page in front of you that shows the breakout by each fund there. And the amounts. Mhm.
Yeah, I do have more roads, but the figures show that you have more, but I wasn't in the truck and measured them, you know. I know how that
What's
goes.
that total there?
Yeah, both the miracles in there. It really bothers me.
You need a motion for this?
No, it's just information.
Just information?
Yeah.
Maybe you gotta sign it for them.
Interest.
You both them same? Crystal,
If you will, when Shasta gets back, check and see where we're at on that, birth certificate deal. She told me after the first of the year, she's gonna go back and work on it, so we need to know an update.
I was gonna tell you this that come in too, and we've got in from FEMA $91,189.10. At $31,809.27 went precinct 1. Precinct 2 got $18,148.58. And precinct 4 got $41,231. And Neil's been lifted.
No, I signed off on it. No.
Just like it always
You're
is.
taken care of. I signed off on it yesterday. It'll be over 88,000.
over how much?
88,000.
Him?
Yes, sir.
He got the big.
88.
Well, hold it now. My rub back up was with me.
That's just gonna be partial. I mean, we're doing that.
Yeah, that's just,
That's just two rows.
that's the
We better,
first.
I've just been real.
One and two.
I've been
That's just 2 roads?
I've been real
It
nervous.
turned in, it said road 1 and 2.
So it'll tell me
It's,
which.
yes,
I went to sit down with, Vicky here a couple weeks ago and went over some stuff. She wanted just some dots and I's, cross some T's, and, I think from what we're looking at, I think mine's right at 100, mine and Neil's are pretty close, right at 190,000 apiece, what we're gonna get. I think yours is 90, 80, 90, something like that, 100 maybe. And Stevens is a little more than us, 200 or something, I think, something like that. So this is just part, it's just partial of it.
Yeah, they're just rolling them out like every week.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I was hoping we'd get them before he disbanded.
Yes, me too.
FEMA.
If they send them down to Tina, we're okay.
Did we ever get, did we ever get, that's what I was looking for, I see one of my savings account on here, but did we ever get the checking accounts back right for road?
Yeah, if you'll go to, basically, I'm sorry. If you'll go to, there's a report here that shows every bank account. So as you look at that, obviously in our investment accounts, the interest rates have came down slightly, but we're still at over 4.7% in Texas class for the month. That's, obviously, depending on what happens with the FOMC meetings, as referenced earlier, it's gonna be reflected in potentially lower interest rates throughout the year, but as of right now, I think there's a lot of uncertainty as to what's going to happen with those interest rates, so that's.
Or I'm not
Go ahead.
not doubting, I see where their regular accounts are, 2, 3, and 4, but mine's not on here anymore. Not that I'm seeing my regular savings, but I know she was having some issues with my checking account, some stuff like getting submitted or something, but it's not on here.
So here's your savings up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my red, like, on the second page where theirs is on there. Mine's not on there. Can you just check them?
Yeah, well, I'll look into that and see what's not.
Yeah. I see one here in Tommy's like 99, 32, 34. But it just says, Road and Bridge #1 account
Where's that at?
on page 2.
Yeah.
So, Owen,
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see it.
all that money is coming from FEMA. I think I've already
See that?
talked
I know
to
you're right.
Rebecca. I want it set in another account I don't want it in my two savings that I have now, because I'm gonna buy rock and stuff out of it to fix these other roads. And I wanna be able to keep up with it. Is that all right?
So a separate FEMA account.
FEMA account.
We should have some more that were set up a couple years ago that are still
Yeah,
out there.
we'll look at that and see.
For all the road.
Yeah, I think $30
And there's zero balances in those
Okay,
right now.
yeah,
so
that'd
you
be a
can
good
put
place to
those
put
in
them.
there.
I think that's a great
But I'm
idea.
gonna buy a lot of rock.
And we'll know that
You'll know that you
we'll have a paper trail of where it comes from.
Exactly.
Because they're coming back.
Yeah,
Maybe
they will.
5 years, but they'll come back and look at your road.
They will all.
Absolutely.
They'll come back and look at it, I promise you.
I'll make them go around Lake Hill Loop one time, they'll go and leave us alone. They'll leave us alone.
So yeah, we'll look at that FEMA side and move whatever we can into that from FEMA. Do a track that.
You ready to go on?
I think that's it for me.
Yep.
That's 10 too,
Good to have a vote. You need a motion on 10?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, all in favor?
Before you leave,
Number 11, discuss an act approval of monthly financial reports. 11 this month.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, you should have your packet, the monthly report for December. For 3 months of activity, only 25%. We're at revenue at 20.85%, and on expenses, 18.76% for the general fund. And of course, road and bridge starts on page 16. Tells you kind of where you are there in revenue and expenses. And overall combined revenue at 25.47%. Expenses 18.75. So expenses below our revenue now that we're receiving property tax, which you'll see how much has been collected through December on the very first page. Very top. I will say there are still some receipts that were not posted in this report. By the time I ran the report, there were still a few that had not been posted. I did check to see if it made a big difference in the overall percentages, and it didn't. It didn't increase it by very much.
Is that program getting better in line now this month?
The program is fine. What we've had a problem with is reconciliation of all the bank accounts. Orrin and Rebecca and assistants from FI are working with them. We're running spreadsheets to verify that what's shown in the general ledger agrees with what's in the bank. Okay, we've got to clean up fiscal year 24 in order to have everything in there. On the bank report, on the bank balances that Orrin gave you, there are some negative amounts. There is money, they just haven't been posted, because I verified, looked at those. So I think you might have had some in yours, in your account, but the money came in.
like my state supplement,
Yeah.
I think that's because we didn't turn that
You
stuff in.
didn't turn it in until late.
But it came in fine.
Yeah, it did. So, and then I have one with the DA, same thing. So his has come in for the prior year, and he'll start getting his back quarterly. So we're good. I double checked those. I've put a rush with FI trying to assist the treasurer's office in reconciling from the old system to the new on their bank accounts, supplying them with all the information needed. I told them we need to get the audit started, so I want it finished in 2 weeks, no more than 2 weeks. I need it done.
Well, everybody says that this new system, you and Rebecca and all of us say that it's gonna be a good deal, but it sure is a pain.
Anytime you do a conversion, talk to the JPs when they did their conversion. Anytime you change software systems and you move from one program to another, they don't always talk.
How long will this system be good for?
Oh, it's good as long as the other one was for it, is what we had it from 2007. That's not gonna last that long. I mean, 15, 20 years, sure, because they continually update it. Okay? Our problem is learning curve and getting everything that was backlogged up current.
Okay, I'll take y'all's word for it.
Get a motion.
I'll so move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 13. No, number 12, discuss and act approval on claims, invoices for disaster-related purchases.
And yes, that is very tiny print. And I've got to use my reading glasses. That's what we entered in payables from January 10th to January 23rd. Again, we're keeping records of all of this as backup for any audit on the thing. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You can take one too. Take one, pass one around. That's all right.
Discuss and act approval on budget amendments for FY 2025.
What you have in your packet is we had a change. We've had a revision requested by the Veterans Officer. So that's what you're being passed out now on the mileage. So we're taking, because that's a part-time position, we put a full-time originally, and again, this was the new system, which was wrong. And with that, it throws the insurance for a full-time person in there. We don't need that, okay? So I'm taking that line item of insurance and dispersing a portion of it across to those areas that the Veterans Officer now needs. There'll be remaining funds left over that will go to your reserve fund.
So, if I understand this right, we've added a cell phone and we've added mileage.
Mileage and conference and education. Plus, the office supplies, we didn't have enough in there. We had 1,000. She'd already used with the new computer she needed and screens. She's already used up that. So I increased it, maybe a little more than she said she might need, but that's just there if she needs more office supplies for the remainder of the fiscal year. And I believe Mrs. Truss is here if you have any questions on that.
I don't have any.
Well, she's been working on it, getting after it. She's a go-getter.
So we're gonna have that amount budgeted for this, and then we're just moving some.
Yeah.
And we still have some.
I'm spreading it across her budget and sending back $6,600 to the reserve.
That office is a little more active than it had been.
Yes, sir.
Is that due to the money?
Well, I don't know what it was like before, but it's very active. I go over there once a week. I have a budget to go over there about once a week. But with the increase on the mileage, I can go twice a week. So when I get accredited and certified, I can start doing the benefit claims. Right now, I'm networking with the Wall of Honor, the VFW, helping Miss Vicki with the grants. The grants has brought a lot of traffic.
Yes.
Lots. So we house 5 homeless people. We help them with food and clothing and utilities and.
If I understand that right, they come and make a plea to you.
To Miss Vicki.
Then you send it to Miss Vicki.
It's typically to Vicki to begin with.
Okay.
I just basically put the rent checks in the landlord's hands, make sure that the vendors are being paid. Those vendors are being paid. We don't leave anything for the imagination. I want the checks delivered, so I deliver the checks when I go to Trinity too.
The grant administrator has to go through the DA's office to make sure that what we're requesting is that we're not spending the money incorrectly. So we get their blessing,
Okay.
sign off, and then we issue the check.
There was 278, I'm just throwing a number. There was $278,000. If we didn't use it, we had to send it back, and then they applied for it
Yes.
this year.
280,000. We've met the quota on the people served, the 60% quota.
Yes.
So we're working on the finance part of it. There's a cap for every veteran, so we just need more traffic for the grant. We have reapplied for it. We will be considered for it, and it is up for negotiation. If we haven't spent the funds, I think it's up for negotiation still, per Vicky.
Okay.
But they have given us, that we probably one of the more successful counties with this grant, and they're very pleased.
Found some sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got them home, got them in a
That
grant.
shouldn't be.
That should,
That should not be.
I make a motion to approve this.
all in favor?
I'll second.
Just for the record, I abstain.
Chris, did you get that down?
Thank you
And Steve,
for taking this serious.
Oh,
Thank you. I've heard nothing but good reports,
Oh, thank you.
and I thank you for taking this serious.
Thank you. I answer to the TVC as well, the Texas Veterans Commission. For my training, I've done advanced training, I've done, the initial training and advanced training. So I do training as assigned. So I also answer to that side on benefits.
And they do send a lot of communication and a lot of newsletters out, so they keep them up to date on what's going on with the Veterans Assistance.
I didn't see you sitting back there while we go back. That's why I was bragging on you anyway, because I think you're awesome.
I was helping someone.
You've
Thank
been
you.
doing a wonderful job, and we
I'm
appreciate
happy.
it.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
Been working good with Vicky and Ms. Bond.
Yes, she's.
Number 14, discuss approval on Ackley and Road. That's our account.
Excellent, Rhodey, yes. We've got to get the 2024 financial statements reviewed. That's what I was telling you. I've tried to give 2 more weeks so that we can get everything for fiscal 24 balanced and ready for the review, so we don't have any lingering questions or to delay the audit. Because I want them in here, I want them out. And,
How many years is this they've had it?
I think this will now be 7. And as you see to the note that I put on there, we will then officially go out for quotes for qualifications as you requested earlier. But this last one, we've got to really have Axel and Rhodey do it because it's still in hill country. And that's where the majority they're familiar with. We don't have to train them on 2. You bring somebody else new, if we need at one board, someone else. For the fiscal year 25, we've only got one software.
So we're gonna go one more, and then we're
They're
going
just
out.
gonna do this one, and it will go out for bids in June of this year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 15, receive county auditor's first quarterly report.
And this is just for your information on where we are. And again, there's some of the explanation regarding the bank accounts and the reconciliation issues that carry through. Other than that, everything else.
So when you say these accounts are not being logged in right, or?
You know, there's an amount at the bank, and then there's the amount that's being entered on the general ledger side. That's the receiving side, and moving the money from, you get it in the road, we get it in the general fund, but it has to go to 1, 2 grand. Has to go to your savings, this. Same thing with other money we get, has to be received in and go dispersed among all of those accounts that you're seeing in this monthly report. They're trying to catch up on 2024 receipts and still trying to do 25 receipts. There's a backlog. There's one person doing
It's got nothing to do with other departments not getting theirs in on time where they can post them.
No, we do have one department that is a little late. For the last couple of months been on time. It's the receiving now that's the billing.
Okay.
Just trying to understand it.
That's why I asked about my account, because it was showing that I was negative, but a lot of stuff wasn't added in there. And Rebecca was dealing with the other company and trying to get it all in there, and I still don't think it's right. I mean,
No, the amounts are on there or not. We're running a spreadsheet on the auditing side
Yeah.
and checking it against the bank accounts and the transactions so that we can try to help them
Yeah.
short up.
Rebecca's pretty sharp on that.
She
kind of
is,
stuff.
but she's overloaded.
And she's dealing with the company because
Yeah, I mean, it's
what's it called?
one person. She's one person.
New data, that's good.
But we ain't fixing to add nobody.
No, I understand that. I understand. I'm not,
No,
That's-
don't
that's-
even advocate
that's up to
that.
Orin. But no, what I'm saying is, if you've only got one person doing it, it's difficult to stay on top of it. So we're trying to help in our department, SI, everything we possibly can do to get this over with. We're tired of looking at
Okay,
it.
well, maybe it'll get taken care of.
It will. And that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
16, discuss some action approval on safe house, Trinity County Sheriff's Department memorandum on understanding provided community-based outreach and emergency service.
You understand that we do this once a year, correct?
We do, we've done it for the county. This one apparently Safe House needs for a grant, and it does need it signed, showing it's with the sheriff's
She's
office
saying
as
they have an
well.
agreement with us to help the sheriff's department out.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 17, receive another report of Trinity County Sheriff's Department. I wasn't trying to say, I told him, I said, that air conditioner is on, and we sitting there cold. Where's y'all from?
Well, I'm not the only one that don't know how to operate and do it.
I have it on silent.
There it is.
Sign for the
I'm
board.
like, yeah, on it.
Now everybody has to get up and do like this.
All right, Judge, I'm ready to move on.
Another question?
No.
That question's for me.
Discuss an act,
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Judge.
Discuss an act on resolution adding a passing lane to Highway 19.
Okay, Judge, I had
What part
this,
of 19?
between,
Since
I think it's-
19 South, was it? I thought they had passing lanes over 19.
South of Houston County.
south of Houston County.
Oh,
This is,
Tommy.
this, I was
Wrong
contacted,
judges to correct. The judges doesn't have South on it.
Oh, okay.
what?
See, ours says South, his is correct, it don't have South.
Yeah. This is a request that was made by Houston County Commissioners. They called and said they're passing this resolution, and they asked us to pass it to try to help get shoulders put on 19.
Lovelady's been bad, and by my house it's been pretty bad for wrecks. I imagine they won't put the passing lane.
Gene,
That's what
by
it
my
is.
house.
Gene Stokes
Yep.
called me about it, and I told him I'd get it on there. And Judge, I think it's a great idea, and it's in precinct 3, and I'm making a motion we pass this.
I'll second that. I got a lot of phone calls about it too, because of all the wrecks that's happened.
It's that stretch from like the Spring Mart outside of Lovelady to, you know, probably Barn Switch.
Yeah.
Well, if you notice, right through downtown Trinity, they've got those sand and gravel trucks. I'm talking about just one behind the other, going across.
Yeah,
They're all day long, and that road is taking a beat.
it sure is. So I'll second that motion.
All in favor? So moved.
We just lost me with the 19 South, and I thought they were south of Trinity, is what I thought.
We fixed that.
Number 19, discuss an act on bids for replacement roof on the rock building over there.
Danny, I'm gonna make a motion to go with the $26,490 bid. This is the same guy that built the precinct 4 barn, and, he was quite a bit cheaper than the competition, but it did not reflect the quality of the work, because I got an awesome barn. Doesn't leak a bit, done a great job.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to discuss with y'all with this is that's just, if we don't run in, I don't know how much wood is bad there. I may have to buy some sheets of wood to replace it. Won't be much, but I just wanted you to know if it went up a few $100s or so because of that, that's what it'd be.
Judge, on the, I know you put that metal roof on there, but on the fascia board, this don't have anything to do with the fascia?
This is gonna have gutters and spouts on
I understand, but the fascia,
it.
you got a 1 to 6 there. I would suggest that we take smart board and make it in the 8-inch and put it there before you put your, metal on it. You paint it and you're through with it, but it protects that 1 to 6. Now that's,
Where it comes down, you mean?
Yeah, when you
for the
fix
water.
It don't have it.
Like on your roof,
It
right?
don't have it, but
Are you wanna close the bottom too?
Aren't you gonna do away with the dorm roofs?
Yeah.
You said just.
Dormers.
Yeah, I've got a quote for $6,000-7,000 in there for 26 gauge. It's got your spout, your trim, and everything for about $6,000-7,000.
I'll second his motion to give it to this guy with the understanding that I think we need that put around there.
Well,
Smart
that may be a little extra, but, you know,
I understand.
if it's,
You have that lead with it.
okay.
Made a motion.
You do second.
All in favor?
When can you get to that, Judge? You know, when can you get to it?
What's this guy's name? As soon as I called them, they said it had leeway 2 weeks. And they'll deliver the metal. You know, rain and stuff. Open it up down the front, so we'll let Bill start. Other one's number 20, discuss an act on setting spring trash cleanup date.
Okay, so I had that put on there, and Carolyn, that works with DECCOG, she called me into last week, and we normally do it in April, so she was saying that we can't do it on any other day that another grant-funded trash day was. And San Jacinto County's done, booked theirs on April 11th and 12th. So that's why I was kind of in a rush to get it done, because, you know, we only got a few more weekends, and we always do it in April. So I wanted y'all to see what y'all thought. Also, we got to talk about, it's not only going to be a trash day, it's going to be tire and stuff too. So we're going to really get our ducks in a row on what we want to do. Is there anything in April that, around any events that happen on the weekends in April? Man, we're waiting for everybody Easter.
Our fish fries is 6.
Or fish fries at 6, so that's Sunday. We normally do it on Saturday.
Well, but you got several of my firemen tied up with that,
Yeah.
and I need them Saturday. They help.
Does your firemen, they help with this trash day and stuff? Okay, I do. I guess that meals or something helping, or?
Well, Neil, John,
Oh, yeah, meals. Oh, yeah, everybody can get involved.
Did you do the 26th
So what about 26th?
for the 19th?
I think we normally do it in April, that's what I'm thinking.
We do.
has, what was this last year with you?
Sorry.
On this,
We probably wouldn't want to do it the
this
19th.
trash pickup, but he's got his fish fry.
San Jacinto County, Carolyn reached out and said that, I know y'all normally book y'all's in April, you can't do it the same day as any other grant-funded trash day. So St. Jack has done called her and said, we want to do it on April 11th and 12th. We normally do ours in April. So, she wanted her to be our date, so that's why I put this on.
What date you have?
19th, man.
We can't do this, we can't do the 5th because that's, the next day's fish fry, Trinity, we'll be dealing with that Saturday, setting it up. The 11th and 12th is San Jacinto County, so we can't do that. The 19th is the day before Easter, so we probably wouldn't want to do that. So the 26th is the only day, and I don't know if anything's going on in the county other than
This
that.
year's perfect.
And we're talking about trash day or garbage, tire day?
They're together.
It's all gonna be together.
It's all gonna be
They're
together.
together.
So,
26, fine with me.
and they're doing the 11th and 12th. I don't know if we're doing 2 days or
We're in February, it's
2
2.
days of it. Or
Yeah, I don't think we're in April.
They're splitting it up between precincts.
So-
1 and 2 will be on the 11th.
Oh, I see.
4.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're doing it all on one day.
yeah.
What do y'all think about on the tires? It's gonna take a lot of labor, but there's stuff, 3 vans. Well, why don't we put 3 vans in one location and get one crew loading one at a time, and then we can haul the tires with dump trucks from our locations to that location.
We did that before. We just had one. We put it yours and, I mean, you loaded up and hauled and dumped and then.
I probably just have one big dump truck load, is all I get out here, unless the tire store.
I don't have a problem with that, I mean, as long as we get them all loaded.
Me personally, it's all grant funded, but I think 3 trailers is overkill. You know, if they're not letting, which I don't think we would want companies to come because they already got paid for it. They should have done the right thing and got rid of it. But
But you're gonna.
last time we had that
But
one,
you're gonna have to clean it up sooner or later, I promise you. 'Cause they're not gonna do it.
But
they can't go on this, or they can't say that, you know.
that's exactly right. But there is some businesses that people
I think
had tires stored and they died, and other people,
and it may do a little better because every time we did it, we had to charge.
that's right.
This you cannot charge, so it may be a lot better.
So as long as you're cleaning up, and I'm gonna say Trinity, I'm for it, so, I'm not gonna make them give me no driver's license when they pull in there.
Can you require them to help you load it?
No, we're gonna use inmates, right?
what do you think we're gonna use? They always help us at.
I'm talking about
Community service.
community service, not inmates. But we don't get inmates, remember?
Y'all think it'd be,
They
just for
have,
this one, since we're all grant, this is all grant funded, do you think, and this is just brainstorming, what about just doing one location for everything? How do y'all think that? Put every dumpster at one place and put every trailer at one place, just have all the people.
Do we have room for something?
That's what I don't know.
All the trash and all the tires at one location?
Yeah, and have all of our workers at one location.
Need to check with Vicki on that and the grant stipulations, or,
That's true.
yeah, because they get real
Because
sick
they
of
didn't put it, they didn't put it in there as located, I don't know if we can do that.
Because
You
it's
won't get
it's
there if you
the three
don't.
locations, the four locations.
and I know sometimes it's choosing on the inmates and stuff, but they did, like Miss Bonnie the other day, they had 2 desks up there, and they, West and them actually, the sheriff's department sent people over here to help us get that down. The desks and stuff, and it's a
Where is this one location gonna be at? Is it wide?
No, I think she just answered my question, I think she's right,
You have to be.
because you have to word it in your, when you apply for the grant, where those locations are. So I don't know if we can do it. That may be something to think about in the future, all the time,
But you're still saying do the tires all at one location,
Yeah, I think we can do that,
but the
but the
trash
trash.
bins.
Trash gotta be the precincts.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea on the tires,
yeah.
because then you wouldn't have to transport them.
I was just thinking like manpower wise, it'd be a lot better if everything was one split. We can talk about that later today.
What precinct will all the tires be at?
Well, I don't wanna say.
Precinct
I don't wanna talk to
okay.
the man, but it can't go in my barn, cause I only got this big a barn about
We
this.
can track that.
Better for me.
It'd have to be 3.
I think it'll be a good turn. So y'all wanna do
Y'all just
26?
remember all these favors. Ain't nothing free.
Oh, just put it at 2.
No, I think that'd be a good idea, and like Stephen said, just load it up,
What about-
load it up with tires.
We gonna be
Bring them
over
over.
I think so.
If y'all decide to do all the trash at one location, I will donate the services of my log loader, and it really speeds it up.
You're gonna have to wait, because the
Yeah,
grant
yeah,
is
next
already.
time.
I'll ask
specific.
them if we can do that, if not, you know.
The log loader, what do you?
It just, you grab that trash
That
and
print is
stuff it.
210, you reach up there with that gravel.
I mean, it's fast, you can grab a jacuzzi and crunch it and throw it in there, beds and whatever.
Yeah.
That may be something to do next time.
Yeah, you can do
Yeah,
it
we'll
next
look at
time, but
next
usually
week.
if you,
We
we've
can't
already
do
got
this
the grant based on those
Well, Tommy,
specifics that are on.
has always been, over the, getting us the manpower, and he's done a great job with that, so as long as we could get a few extra at precinct 3 and 2 to handle the tires, I think that'd be wonderful.
That's fine.
Get it done. I'll try to get that rock out of the way so we can have room.
So what dates did y'all decide to do?
26th of April.
Have a motion
I'll make a motion to do.
I'll second.
on that? Everybody fine?
Yeah.
So moved. 21, discuss an act approval of reports to the month. Got Ms. Nancy Stanfield, 11,135.60. 11,135.60. Precinct 1, Judge Mary Wallace, 5,520.97, 5,520.97.
Neil.
does. $6,472.13. $6,472.13. You sure keep Lyle in your prayers.
Absolutely. He's doing better. These treatments has really been weighing pretty hard on him, hasn't it, Keith?
Yeah, he's battling through it, but it's taking a toll.
But his appetite's getting better, so, you know, when an old cow gets down and her appetite gets up, she's on the mend, and I think he is too. He loves to eat. Yes.
Judge Keith Johnson, precinct 3, $5,734.30. $5,734.30.
And work a little bit about for She is.
Judge Richard Steptoe, precinct 4, $5,680.70. $5,680.70.
Number 2. Number 1 again, you know what I mean?
You got more criminals. Oh, I tell you.
I think that was written down wrong. It's $5,680.60.
Okay.
Shasta Burton, $19,023.10. $19,023.10. District Clerk, Julian Steptoe, $8,077. No, $8,771.09. $8,771.09. On the hot checks, it's $16,28.46. $1,628.46. Hayes office, $29,464.84. $29,464.84. Glad all y'all getting y'all's money from FEMA.
I am too.
It's a lot of work, but I'm sure glad it's taken place.
Yes, sir, and I believe it's gonna help us quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank y'all all for coming.
Motion
Need a
to adjourn.
motion to
I
adjourn.
got you. Motion.
All in favor?
Need a second.
Did y'all approve the 21
Tommy second.
for recessing or 21?
Recess it.
Did y'all approve 21?
Trying to get out of here.
What in the world are you doing? Son?